Hello and welcome. So today I'm going to be talking about, if you haven't already looked at the title of this video, how to essentially create a check-in that is super effective for you as the coach and your clients as well, how to structure it out and how to make it super effective for the results that you guys are both trying to achieve together. Now, this is something that I'm so experienced in because this is something I always get asked from so many different coaches. You know, how do I make sure my clients are getting their check-in done weekly, fortnightly, or monthly, whatever tier that they're on? How do I ensure that they're not just answering with one-word answers? And how do you create the most effective check-in to get the best results? So I have personally gathered seven little tips that are going to effectively help you structure out your check-in and add in lots of factors that are going to, I guess, add some more value to how your clients are going to go through that check-in and how much they're actually going to appreciate you maybe than what they actually first thought. Because I know the whole check-in process is very much it's a very masculine tick things off thing. I need to get this done. Whereas like a lot of people find that it is very tedious to actually do. So you guys are gonna love this today. I want you to sit back. I want you to relax. I want you to implement these 7 steps and let me know how this resonates with you and if this was really, really helpful for your business. So firstly, what I would actually look at doing is trying to understand or trying to help your client understand what the purpose of a check-in actually is, and also helping them understand why it is so crucial for them to do that check-in weekly, right? Now, do I believe that everyone needs to get a check-in done weekly? Do I believe that all your clients need to get a check-in done weekly? No, personally, I do believe it's going to depend on a lot of factors, like what goals that they have, how adherent they are, what their schedule or what their lifestyle is essentially looking like. Now, this is also something I would personally set an actual standard for your clients at the start of that container with you, like setting up and explaining to them exactly why it is so important and how you actually utilize a check-in to actually empower them forward and actually give them feedback back. So what I actually noticed when I was starting to do check-ins with my clients and when people were actually signing up into my program, I noticed that by setting the standard really early on in that first week, it's going to set the standard for the next 8, 12, 16, 24 weeks, however long they're going to be working with you. And it's not going to be a massive issue in the long run trying to chase in check-ins because they generally know the standard that you have. They know what to expect from you and they know how they can get the results from just getting a check-in in with you. And also just on that as well, setting the standards, like what day is their check-in on? You know, what time do they need to get it in? And what's expected from you as the coach as to when they're going to get a reply. And I think as soon as they actually understand and they actually have a visual in their head of, right, Emma's going to reply to me like at this time, and they're going to understand the kind of the hours that you're going to reply to, it's like they're going to want to get a check-in done so that they can actually implement what the next steps are in their fitness journey. Number 2, simplicity is key. So I used to have these check-ins that were full, I'm pretty sure I had 25 questions in my check-ins when I first started being a coach. And to be honest, it was a good thing for a little while because I understood a lot about them. But at the same time, lots of questions, not only for me, but for my clients as well, is super overwhelming, especially doing them weekly. Especially imagine having 25 questions to answer on a weekly basis. That is just, it's just too much for me. So I actually personally think of it as how I would want to do a check-in. Would I want to answer 25 questions weekly? No. So I don't even pretty much like filling in forms anyway. So getting me to do a 25 question questionnaire every single week is a little bit tedious for me. So the amount of questions that I make sure that I put in there is roughly between 10 to 15. It's enough that I can get a lot of, answers and feedback from my clients in regards to how I can help them, but it's not too overwhelming for your client to sit and go, oh, I just don't have time to actually write out 25 answers, right? So making sure that you've only got around 10 to 15 is really going to be the most optimal. I am going to be talking about in this, the kind of questions that you can ask to make sure that you are optimizing the time and the feedback that you can actually give back to your clients as well. The third thing we want to make sure that we have included in these check-ins is a good ratio of qualitative and quantitative data or data collection. Remember, check-ins aren't necessarily for you as the coach. Check-ins are for your clients to actually reflect on the week that's just gone, right? We want to create self-led people. We want people to actually problem solve some of their own things that are actually coming up in the week. Of course, our job as coaches is to help support them and guide them as well. But at the same time, if we're just there to fix things and get things done when things pop up without them actually utilizing their brain and actually reflecting what they actually could have done better, what are we coaching for, right? So depending on the person as well, like they may not really want to be writing all about their stats every single week. Now, for example, I've got lots of clients who I work with that, let's put it this way, they are scared of the scale. They're scared of numbers that are going up. Yes, we're working through it, but it's just going to be inevitable that new people coming into your program, they may not like to actually weigh themselves daily. They may not like to weigh themselves all of the time. And if you're sitting there going, okay, we need data, we need this, we need that, we need this number, we need your scale weight every single day, we need your calories and protein every single day, all of those numbers can be so overwhelming to look at. And it can actually mean that your clients that are coming in are going to base their self-worth on that number, especially if they don't understand how we actually data collect as coaches, right? So making sure that you've got a really good ratio of qualitative and quantitative analysis in your check-in. So what I mean by qualitative as well, number one, I would actually have about 75% of your overall check-in as qualitative analysis. So this is everything to do with like, you know, asking them what their wins are, asking them things about their mindset, their lifestyle, their habits, like pretty much their personal life, right? There's no numbers involved. Then on the other hand, you've got your quantitative. Now, as coaches, we need data, right? We need data to be able to collect so that we can collect everything, we can make a conclusion, we can make an assumption on where they're at and what they can work on, and we can then implement for our clients, right? That's our role. I say 25% of your check-in is going to be quantitative, right? It shouldn't be 50-50. We actually want the client to be able to reflect on these questions. And again, I'm going to go through the questions soon, but I would say 75 to a 20% ratio between qualitative and quantitative is going to be a really good amount. Now, the way that you can do that as well, so the structure of, this leads me into the fourth thing, the structure of your clients' check-ins. Now, it does matter. Now, I get it. They're going to be answering the same questions week in and week out, but the structure of your check-ins does matter. So for me personally, this is what I find that works. You guys can find your own way, but personally, this is what I think that my clients are actually getting results in. I always start with kind of lifestyle wins and habits and kind of the battles and a lot of qualitative data at the top. So we go through wins, we go through battles, we go through things that they've learned for that week, right? That's how we start in the first section. Second section is training. So again, half of that is a qualitative analysis, asking how their training went, what they enjoyed in their training, all of the things, you know, and then it's kind of the last question in the training section would be how many sessions did you get done out of the ones we have scheduled. Then the third thing would be nutrition. Again, asking how they went, asking them, you know, like how did they feel? How was their energy? All of the things. Then the quantitative analysis of, you know, what macros did you hit or what calories did you hit, so that we actually understand that. Then to finish off, it's more so the question that I like to ask is, what is one thing you're going to work on next week, right? So that kind of leads us into the fifth thing that I really want you guys to focus on, is how to actually ask your questions. So there is a difference between asking a question that is, what was your macros and calories? Did you hit them? Versus a question that was like, what was your biggest battle this week? How did you overcome it? And what is the lesson in that battle? Do you see how there's a really big difference between the type of questions that I'm asking, right? So one is very straightforward. That's probably going to prompt a very much a yes or a no answer, versus the one that I have created that my clients are answering. It's going to be a very structured answer, and it's going to be, number one, answering what kind of battle that they had, number two, what they did to overcome that, the action steps that they actually took, and number three, the lesson in that, right? So that is very much like, we are coaching within actually asking those questions. So hopefully you can see the kind of difference between those kind of questions as well. Even things like asking them at the end of their check-in, like, what is one thing you're going to work on this week, right? So this is something that, again, they're not necessarily coaching themselves, but we want to get our clients to actually think about the answers that they're actually speaking on. We want our clients to actually think about how to move forward in the next week instead of being so dependent on us to provide them the next step, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. The 6th step is the deliverability of your check-in to your client, right? So what systems are you using for the questionnaire? How are you actually delivering the results of their questionnaire to the client, right? Remember, we need to keep it simple, and I find so many coaches do so many unnecessary things to deliver feedback to the clients that doesn't actually necessarily make the client actually want to check in, right? So for example, you've got a client who works corporate, she works 9 to 5. Is she going to have time every single Wednesday at lunchtime to jump on a Zoom call with you? Probably not. Is she going to have time in her day once she goes home from a really, really stressful day at work? Is she going to have time to be sitting down watching a 20 to 30 minute Loom video feedback from you? Probably not, right? So really, I think the biggest thing as coaches, we need to be adaptive to your clients and their lifestyle, right? So for example, if this corporate woman was a 9 to 5, what I would actually do is do a 3 to 5 or even 10-minute voice note, right? So that she can listen to it on her way home from work in the car. But also I would actually do like 5 dot points of a wrap up of what I was actually speaking about in that voice note for her to actually quickly squiz at work and know exactly what is actually coming in that check-in so that she can feel good for the rest of the day, right? So actually understanding what your clients are doing and how they best receive feedback from you is really going to enable you to actually gain a better relationship with your clients, and relationships equal results. I cannot stress that enough. Relationship equals results. So really being adaptive and looking at your deliverability of your check-in, and it may vary from person to person. Amazing. And that's what we want, right? But also the biggest thing as well is understanding how you best coach. For me personally, I coach very well when I voice note, right? So I usually have everything up on my computer. I kind of analyze kind of what's happening for that client. I look at everything, I zoom out, I have a new perspective. I will voice note them everything that is on my mind, and I will essentially get back to them in multiple voice notes. That's just what works with me. That's how I can get my message across. I'm not gonna spend extra time and fluff around video things or Zoom calls when a voice note is actually my best form of coaching as well. So also taking that into consideration for your 6th step. Finally, the 7th step is actually looking at the systems of your check-ins. So for example, looking at free systems like Wufoo. These are all free, but you can pay for them if you upgrade to certain things, but you don't necessarily need to. So you've got Wufoo, Jotform, Google Docs. You've got an Airtable form as well. You can use Excel spreadsheets, but I think obviously if you've got a form, if you've got a free platform to have a form to provide a check-in in, that's going to be the best way for your clients as well. So having a look at that, really ensuring that it is easy for your clients to use. They have the links to be able to check in, and it's going to make the process so much seamless. So that is my 7 tips for you guys. So quick, effective ways to structure out your check-in, ask questions that is going to leave your clients feeling really, really, really good and ready for the next week, right? The biggest thing I learned, number one, this is the biggest thing, is to be adaptable to the circumstances that your clients actually have and their lifestyle, right? Understanding them on that little bit of a deeper level. And I think all of these 1%ers that I'm saying now, take it into consideration. These 1%ers matter. And I know they may not seem like they do, but trust me, this is what's going to develop you and help you actually create a deeper relationship with your clients. If you have a deeper relationship with them, number one, you're not only going to get them better results, but number two, they're going to stay on with you longer because you are the coach that actually understands them and knows them. They're not just a number in your system, right? So these are my 7 tips. I would love to know what you thought, or if you're going to implement any, I would love to know. So comment down below. If you enjoyed this video and you want more, make sure to subscribe, put the bell notifications on, and I look forward to creating more of these videos for you guys. And yeah, I will talk to you guys soon. Have an amazing day.